she still couldn't have paid her rent. And then I asked her what happened. Why were you not able to take my advice? Because you're worth it. You have a certificate, you have the experience, you have the physical like appearance of what you're selling. And she just didn't have the faith to believe that she could actually sell it. And I said, "Can you tell me about your customer? What happened? What was there any reason why you felt like you couldn't get the price that you absolutely deserve?" And then she just told me, "Well, she's a rich woman." And I said, "Well, you could have asked." And I feel like, especially with women um, nowadays, especially women of faith, we're just so afraid of asking. There are these certain myths in life when it comes to pursuing faith, pursuing luxury at the same time. And today I'm going to dive into what those myths could be that could be holding you back from your abundance. And that's the last thing that I want you to have, Maven. So let's go. We are going to break the lies, what they never told you about luxury branding and influence. And hopefully, these tips can even help you internally as well. So, since the beginning of time, humans have tried to build influence on their own terms. The Tower of Babel was not just about reaching heaven, it was about men trying to build their own names apart from God, and it crumbled. Today, branding looks the same. If you build in the wrong order, it will fail. So, I'm going to go over the three myths that I don't want you to go through. And these are the three branding myths to keep woman small. And I don't want you to be small, Maven. We're going to go big. We're going to go amazing into the stratosphere. So, with that being said, there's one myth that says the more that you charge, the more prestigious you are. This is a huge luxury myth. What? So, if you just charge more, people will just go towards you for that? This is false. You see, in heaven, worth is determined by purpose. You see, in Luke 12:15, it says, "A man's life does not consist in the abundance of his possessions." So, when it comes to branding yourself or branding your business, don't think about the rainbow at the end or what they call the gold pot at the end of the rainbow. It's not about that. It's about finding the lessons, the purpose, the gift that you want to give to the world. And there is where you're going to find what it means. Now, of course, they say, if they say the more you charge, more prestigious you are, that is a fallacy. Sometimes a lot of value can happen based on what you give. However, there are times when you give a lot to someone and they do not implement what you say and what you're trying to let them know, especially if it's in a place where there was nothing given for them to receive. It can be extremely difficult for that person to change. And this is only comes to the realms of business, or if you kind of possibly gave someone advice, free advice, and they didn't take your advice, all that effort and energy that you gave almost can feel useless. So there has to be a balance between charging as well as giving value. It's not about the total extremes, but there is a balance between the two. Now, Maven, I just want to be real with you. This is a luxury business that we are going to build. So it does take a certain balance between charging a high price and delivering value. However, you don't need to charge high prices to everyone. You just need to work with the people that you want to work with. And that's exactly what this is all about. It's about having the faith that you can absolutely do this. You can absolutely charge what you're worth, and what you're worth is priceless. So let's get into myth number two. It says here that the more you are seen, the more influence you have. This is somewhat true, but just because someone is seen a lot, like a celebrity or anything like that, doesn't mean they have influence or power over you. True influence is not a built in visibility, but it's built in weight. Let's go to our icon here, biblical icon Ruth. She was a foreigner, a widow, unseen, but she moved with integrity. Her name became honored. When God elevates you, you don't need to seek the spotlight. The light will come to you. And I tell you this because just because you're building something for yourself, you don't need to be seen to elevate you. There are times where God can actually elevate you instead. But God at the right time will open the doors for you and allow everything to work out. In Proverbs 18:16, it says, "A man's gift makes room for him and brings him before great men." So if you are gifted, as you are, because you're with me here, Maven, I want you to know that this is your opportunity. Just get into the work of building your luxury brand, building your luxury business, your high end business. Charge exactly what you're worth. And I just know this because I've done this myself where my value was just so up there and I didn't even know what kind of value I had until I decided to just charge what I'm worth. And if you don't even know where to start, I like to say charge anywhere where maybe your rent can get paid, right? And that could be a couple items that you sell, or it could be a couple services that you provide, but luxury is about living in abundance. So make sure that you are charging what you're worth. I say this because I had a friend that I told her, charge a certain amount that will at least cover your living expenses. Then she came across a friend or someone that she knew, and she charged about 10% of what I mentioned for her. It was difficult because $500 later and 3 months later of work, she still couldn't have paid her rent. And then I asked her what happened. Why were you not able to take my advice? Because you're worth it. You have a certificate, you have the experience, you have the physical like appearance of what you're selling. And she just didn't have the faith to believe that she could actually sell it. And I said, "Can you tell me about your customer? What happened? What was there any reason why you felt like you couldn't get the price that you absolutely deserve?" And then she just told me, "Well, she's a rich woman." And I said, "Well, you could have asked." And I feel like, especially with women um, nowadays, especially women of faith, we're just so afraid of asking, so afraid of asking for what we need and what we desire based on our experience. The experience that you have is so special. No one else on this planet has your experience, and it is worth charging what you're worth. And if you don't know what that is, think about what your rent is. I just want to be honest with you. Start with that and take it from that point. And again, it's based on different products, different services, whatever you have, but you have to ensure that there's a profitability that does exist that's baked in. So if you're having a slow month, if you're having an abundant month, everything will fall into place and it will balance out. But I don't want you to dive into myth number three with this, which is luxury means having more. It is totally false, where the richest kings were the ones who stewarded wisely, not only those that simply gathered wealth. Solomon was not remembered for gold, but for wisdom. So I want you to know there's a difference between wisdom and wealth. In Ecclesiastes 7:12, it says, "Wisdom is defense, and money is a defense. But the excellency of knowledge is that wisdom gives life to them that have it." And there's something that I came across personally where I realized that I had a lot of knowledge, but I didn't have a lot of wisdom. And wisdom is the application of that knowledge. And that's what happened to my friend, where she had the knowledge, but she did not apply the knowledge that was provided based on someone who's done exactly what she wanted to happen, that end result. And because she didn't apply it, the wisdom was not there. Therefore, the end result was where she couldn't pay rent. So, Maven, I just wanted to share that story with you because although we have the best intention for others, when we give advice, especially if you're a consultant or a certain entrepreneur and the person you're giving that advice to, they do not apply it and they come back to you and ask for that advice again, they're not applying the knowledge and wisdom that you can offer. And it's good to help people. I don't want to say that it's not good to help others. However, there is a certain level of exertion and energy that comes in when it comes to helping others and giving them the opportunity for the knowledge that you want to help them with. So it's almost like when Jesus said, for those who have ears, let them hear. Like, he didn't really repeat himself a lot. He just got mad a lot and said, do you have no faith? Like, do you have no faith? So I just say this to you in a very loving way. And I also talk to myself too. Like, I learned that to be a very successful entrepreneur, to be a very successful luxury entrepreneur, to be a successful consultant or like any business that you want to be in, like, you have to apply the knowledge that you receive. And that's an work and that's an application. And let God bless the work of your hands. But really, you can follow success like a recipe and you can get the results like the recipe. And I'm telling you this because I like to call myself a business nerd. Like, I actually write down my recipes all the time. Like, I'm just like, this is what worked. I'm going to do this again. Like, success is not luck. It is absolutely a recipe, and it's also faith. It's faith in believing that the wisdom and knowledge that you're receiving, that when you apply it, God will bless the work of your hands. There was a song that I was listening to this morning. It said that every battle is not wasted. Just because you got to go into battle and there's a chance that there could be a failure in that battle doesn't mean that God is going to make that experience wasted for you. Maven, I'm letting you know it's worth going into battle. It's worth being that queen. It's worth getting in there. It's worth being on the front lines of your life, of your business. For you to break through barriers is worth it. And I'm telling you, it is. But do not cower. Do not be in the back of the army when it's your army, right? Like, you got to learn how to fight too, right? You got to learn how to get your, sword and all that, those beautiful like business allegories. I'm telling you, like, anything you need to get yourself together, because God has made you strong. So I want to leave those words with you. I will see you on my next video. Make sure that you do subscribe, and I'll see you at the Liselle Club. Bye bye. Kisses.